So generally, control variables are commonly used in empirical research in management, and they do matter from a theoretical perspective, but also from a statistical point of view. What we observed, so Miko and I, is that there are two basic perspectives that are discussed in the literature. One is more explicit, the other one less. One is the frugal perspective, which basically argues that researchers should use control variables as sparsely as possible. There are different reasons provided for that. Among those reasons are, for example, a change in the nature of the relationship between the variables of interest when including control variables, or that they could be potentially bad controls. The second perspective is the prolific approach, which argues more in the direction of to be generous to include in the control variable inclusion, basically to prevent omitted variable bias. Both those perspectives agree that control variables are important and are important decisions, and they should be chosen based on existing theory. But they do also provide specific recommendations, in particularly the frugal perspective on control variable use. In our paper, we first analyze how broadly both those perspectives are applied in the general management literature. So we examine top journals in management, and we examine how much they are cited, those standard papers, but also how much they are implemented and how. We then find basically that the frugal perspective, so the one arguing for few control variables, is much more implemented, and the prolific perspective is basically not explicitly mentioned a lot. We then focus on the specific recommendations those perspectives make and conduct Monte Carlo simulations, which indicate that on average, the specific recommendations from the frugal perspective provide more bias when implemented when compared to the prolific approach. We then conclude the paper that basically researchers should not focus that much on whether to include many or few controls, but instead should focus on including the right controls. So in a sense, this is the integrated perspective. And then the consideration should be much more focused on preventing omitted variable bias, and also to prevent including bad controls.